Welcome to Education, Leadership, and Beyond, Surviving and Thriving. My name is Andrew Murata, host of the show, and welcome to the podcast here, our live Facebook audience, proud member of the Education Podcast Network, VoiceEd Radio Canada, wherever you're taking in your podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thanks for your support, positive comments, outreach, all of those things help. So I do want to say thank you. I want to give a shout out to the Superior Panthers. Superintendent Steve Estatico. I was there this year. I love the shirt and certainly the message. Be so good that they can't ignore you. As a Steve Martin quote, there's a message on the back. So shout out to the Superior Panthers. Thanks, Steve. And I do want to thank today's sponsor of the program, IXL. It's the beginning of the school year. Teachers are finding out where the kids are academically. IXL is a great program that does that and a lot more. Let's hear from them.
I'd like to thank IXL for sponsoring today's podcast. Over 1 million teachers use IXL in their classroom every day. IXL is the most widely used online learning and teaching platform K through 12. It empowers schools with complete curriculum, thousands of instructional resources, robust reporting, assessment data, and more. It saves teachers a lot of valuable time with ready-made plans aligned to the standards and the textbooks. Built-in engagement tools like custom competitions make learning fun for students. And IXL's diagnostic is research proven to be a strong predictor of performance on standardized assessments. And the best part? Everything I just mentioned is all integrated into one platform, so you can simplify your EdTech tools. Visit IXL.com to lead your students towards data-driven excellence today. The link is in the show notes. And again, appreciate IXL sponsoring today's podcast.
All right, friends, let's get started. It is Thursday, September 11th, 2025. And what do we say here on September 11th? I attended the wonderful, beautiful ceremony today in Deer Park, New York. It is a day of remembrance. 23 years ago, 9/11. And I grew up in Staten Island, friends. Watched the towers fall, watched them burn for days, and watched the trucks and trucks and trucks and trucks of debris. If you don't know this, all of the artifacts, all of the pieces, everything from the 9/11 site went to the Staten Island dump. And that's where they searched. That's where they sorted. That's where they kind of sorted it all out. Went to the Staten Island landfill there. And Staten Island had the most losses of all of the areas of life. But the word hero is used a lot today, and certainly those first responders, 9/11, those people on the plane that fought, heroes. And I remember today. Today I remember 9/11, and my heart goes out to the families. Certainly a day of remembrance. And what's happening politically in our country, what's happening with the leadership in our country, what's happening with the anger in our country. It is time to come together. It's time to come together. It's time to lead with kindness, lead with love, and certainly lead with bringing people together and not separated. So 9/11, my heart goes out to you. We remember, and thank you to all of the heroes out there. Let's get started with the podcast. My man, Yankee Todd, coming from San Antonio, live from San Antonio, Texas. There he is, Yankee Todd. What's up, my brother?
Hey, Andrew. Before I jump into the fun and stuff, excellent tribute. Way to start. It was. We all talked today about where we were when we found out the towers had been hit, and I was teaching social studies in San Antonio, Texas, and we had Sports Center on in the corner,
Mm.
and something we probably shouldn't have done. And then all of a sudden, somebody goes, "Oh my God! It looks like a plane is crashed into the towers." And they had it in the picture in the bottom. And so we kept going, and then all of a sudden we realized, there was a lot more to that, and it was just a tough day. And I was a football coach at the time, and I was about 2 miles from the airport. And for 4 or 5 days, planes were grounded after 9/11.
Wow.
Like nobody flew. And it was
Yeah.
one of those eerie remembrances because we always had planes flying over and landing by our school. And it was just one of those things that was just eerie. And it was just one of those things that I always remember. And I never knew that they brought everything to Staten Island to search. I mean, that's something that is, part of that. And so a very touching tribute to begin the show. And thank you for doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. The heroes there. We heard from
Mhm.
some firefighters today at the ceremony, and we're blessed up here. Todd, we have a piece of one of the beams from one of the towers.
Awesome. It's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah. So, but
Awesome.
friends, this is Todd Bloomer,
Go. Let's go.
education leader, author, New Yorker.
Let's
Uh,
go.
but Todd, you're on fire, man. You're doing great things. You are the director of school leadership, the Archdiocese of San Antonio. This is a new chapter
It
in
is.
your life. Tell me about this new chapter and the new
Yeah.
job you have, new location.
Yeah. Hey, Andrew, who would have known that getting on an elevator in Austin, Texas, and you turned over and I had a Knicks shirt on. If you remember, we had a Knicks shirt on. I think you had gone to a game a couple days before.
I
And
think
we
you
had
had some high tops on too. I think you had some
we
high
did. We talked that would amount to this. And so I do a small world after all. And then Andrew, you delivered
Yeah.
a great TSSP presentation for aspiring principals. Was just awesome. Just a great deal. For 29 years, I was in public education. I was a teacher, a coach, an assistant principal, and a principal for the past 6.5 years as a high school principal here in San Antonio, 4.5 years as a middle school principal. Before that, 18 in administration. And I stepped away in May. And I stepped away from the school that I served, that I lived in, the community that I lived in. All 5 of my children attended the school. They all graduated there. I was a mile down the road from the school. My church, my grocery store, my park was their park. And it really gave me great joy and great satisfaction to be the community principal of the school that I felt was just the only place that you would want your child to be. And in about November of last year, I started thinking, this is my best year I've ever had in 29 years of education. And I've hired all of my people on my administrative team, lots of the teachers, people I considered friends and family. And I started talking to my wife and I said, I think it's time to step away. And she was like, what do you mean? Like, this is, you're loving your job. And there's two parts to it. Yes, I absolutely loved my job, but a high school principal in San Antonio, Texas, it was a 7-day-a-week job. And I worked Saturdays because we had events. And then Sunday, I chose to go to school to answer emails, to do my agendas for the week, to get the coffee ready for Monday, to clean up my desk. I did 75 minutes, but that meant I worked 7 days a week, essentially 365 days a year. And I was always answering emails. I was always available because I lived in the community. And I started to think, like, this year, this brought me such great joy and satisfaction. I think I'm going to step away. And so the narrative is that people are leaving because they're dissatisfied. I left because, like, I loved my job, and I was at an all-time high, and I never thought I would be able to duplicate it. And I would hate to go to a place that I love and not want to be there each and every day, not want to go to the football game, the pep rally, the band concert, walk the halls, interact with the kids. And so divine intervention, I started thinking, and a job opened up with the Archdiocese of San Antonio. It was a brand new position. They were looking for some people to come in and kind of coach principals and school leaders and bring some structures and systems to place. And I prayed about it, and it opened, and it was just perfect. It was a perfect, seamless transition. But I stepped away from the job that I loved. And the good part is, this is a new adventure. It's a new chapter. Every day is a new day, and I really feel like I'm filling the bucket of people that want some support. They want a thought partner. They want someone to walk alongside them. They want someone that's done the job before, and that's pretty cool. And so. And to be honest with you, it's an 8:30 to 5 job. Like honestly, I am nights and weekends are back. My wife and I have those. My kids have those, and the weekends I'm able to be, dating my wife again, like doing fun things with her. And so it really just all worked out. It really, the good Lord just said, "Hey, let's close this door. I got another one for you. I got new challenges for you." And he kind of said, let's go get them. And so that's been my attitude. Let's go. And so each and every day. And so today I was on a high school campus, and it was great to be back on a campus. Now, the high school campus has 200 kids. My high school had 2,500 kids. And so the principal was asking about that. And I was like, yeah, it's probably, I don't know, 12 times bigger. But high school kids are high school kids. And that's the beauty. And that's what I miss. And so if I'm strategic about it, I can be on campuses and fill my bucket and also help adults. And that's really all you can ask for in life, right?
Yeah. Friends, this is Todd Bloomer, again, San Antonio, Texas, by way of New York. If you are watching live, jump in, say hello to Todd, and certainly be part of the show. Todd, principals have a unique skill set. There's a lot that goes into that job. What are some of the skills that you've taken with you? You're in this new position 3 or 4 months now. What are some of the skills that you're using now in this new role?
Two things I think come to mind that are just game changers for any school leader. And that's really, truly realizing you're in a people business and really connecting with people and really allowing people to get to know you and really allowing people to see the principal. Like, the principal should be the face of the school and the most visible person in the school. And like, I had this crazy belief that if you were a teacher in my school, you wanted to see the principal. Like, you wanted to see the principal walk by. You wanted to see the principal interacting with kids. You wanted to talk to the principal. You wanted to kind of share with the principal the good things that you were doing. And so, like, really one of the things that I'm really would communicate to anybody is you can't be principal from your office. You can't lead from your office. And it's got to be people before paper. You have to do, when kids are there and teachers and staff are there, you need to be everywhere else but your office. Now, I will push back and say, like, I don't have a rolling desk. I didn't have that. Like, there are times you have to go back to your office. There are times you have to have private meetings. There are times you have to close the door and call. But a majority of your day should be where people are. Like, it should be in the cafeteria duty. It should be in drop off. It should be in passing periods. So I think visibility is one thing that I would say it cures a lot of problems. Like, if I walk down the hallway and you're upset about something, you can tell the principal right there. I only have 28 desks and I got 35 kids. I'm going to fix that right there, because that's a problem. Don't wait to send me an email. Don't wait the night before. Don't tell kids to sit on the floor and then parents email me. And I was like, well, why didn't you tell? Well, I never know if you're here. I don't, like, let me fix those things there. So visibility helps teachers a lot. It also helps with like management of classrooms and hallway behaviors and expectations. But it also allowed me as a principal to get to know some really good kids. You know, like if I'll use your daughter, for example. Your daughter's a soccer player. And like, if she played in the game, I could stop her in the hallway and say to her, that was awesome. I'm so proud of you. You did such a good job. And that goes so far, because now if your daughter has an issue or concern, like, I'm not just the principal and who is that guy. Like, I'm an approachable person. Like, I'll bring you up to him and introduce you, or I'll go share, or I'll go to him and say, hey, my friend's having a problem. So it was twofold. It was like being visible for teacher support and also being visible for student support. And then the other part is you got to get right with your administrative assistant, your secretary. You got to have a calendar that reflects the values that you have. And if those values are getting in classrooms, then I should look at your calendar and I should see time blocked off to be in classrooms. And if I don't, it'll never happen. And that's one of the things that I'm really talking to principals now is like, what is your plan? And if your plan is, well, I hope to get in classrooms once or twice a week, okay, that's probably not going to happen, because we could always have some kind of emergency. But if I blocked off every Monday, this was just something that worked for me. Monday was my day that I started in classrooms every Monday. And it took the superintendent to call me to get me out of those classrooms. It started my week on a great note. Monday's a great day. Usually you don't have meetings on Mondays. And I would go back to the office every once in a while, get a cup of coffee, check an email, make a phone call. But I also empowered my secretary to answer questions that I didn't need to be. You know, if someone wanted to call and they were upset, and I use this example all the time, they were upset that they're with the band director because their kid should be the fourth tuba, not the fifth tuba in the band. Well, that call should go to the band director first. And empower your secretary to say, I'm going to get you to the band director. I'll tell the principal, Bloomer, I'll tell Bloomer what's going on. He'll follow up with the band director, but let me help you get in touch with the band director, because the band director is a great person. She'll call you back by the end of the day, I promise. And if not, call me back. And so really empowering, and I'll just say loving your secretary to do stuff for you is what allows you to do the things you want to do. So if my secretary forwarded every calls to me, like, I would go back and have 10 calls and I'd have to call a parent back about the fifth chair and the tubas, which I know nothing about. My secretary could just say, have you talked to Miss Stevenson? She's great. She'll get back with you. I'm sure there's a misunderstanding. And then she always followed up by saying, if you don't hear from her by the end of the day, you call me and I'll walk out there. And so she reassured parents, she took care of things, and she took things off my plate. And she guarded my calendar so that what was of value to me was protected. Now, I'm also visible all the time. And so you didn't need to make an email meeting with me. You could just stop me in the hall. Like you could just ask me a question. And that was the great way of problem solving. If it was personal, yeah, we'd come back and sit in the office and close the door and make it a professional type setting. But we could problem solve anything in the hall. Can you come back sixth period? Because I got a kid named Andrew in the class and he's disrupting my sixth period class. Absolutely. If I'm not there, one of my assistant principals will be there. We will support you. And teachers love that. And then ultimately, I will add all of that, gives the visibility, the positivity, the reliability, and the trust that teachers need to have in their leader, so they'll forgive you when you make a mistake. Because guys like us, Andrew, we make mistakes all the time. We don't mean it. We get going a million miles an hour, and we may overlook something or blow something off or not do something that somebody wanted us to do. It's not because we're bad people. It's just we're on the go. And if you are visible and positive and you're building relationships with people, they're going to forgive you. Oh, it's just Bloomer. He's got a million things to do. He's on the run. I'll catch him next time he comes around. So it gives you that trust that you need. And then, so I would say, if anything to principals out there, like you can't lead from your office, and make sure you and your secretary meet daily, and your calendar reflects the values that you have on your campus. That's the secret to success. And get a good pair of shoes. Let's go, right? Get a good pair of
Todd,
let's go.
I saw Hamilton a couple of years ago on Broadway, and they said it had the most words per Broadway show ever. Okay. And I think in education, leadership, and beyond, this is episode 300 something. That was the most words ever.
Let's go. Put me at the top of the list, Coach. Put me in.
You didn't take a breath, man.
Well, sir, you get fired up. You get passionate about this stuff, right? Right.
And you still wearing a tie from work at night.
You know what's interesting? When my last year as a principal, I scaled back. I gave away a bunch of ties, and I thought, I'm never wearing a tie again. And then I got there, and I thought, you know what? I have to model what I expect of people. And so I went to Goodwill the other day, 5 ties for $10. Picked up 5 really nice ones. I was out of campus today, and I thought, you know what? I'm going on this podcast. I'm gonna keep the tie on. I'm gonna keep it on. Let's go.
Bloomer, baby.
Let's go.
Friends, jump in the chat here. My sister Suzanne Morana Carbonero is on there. Suzanne, Todd is a big Yankee fan.
Let's go.
And we're going to ask him about that now. Todd, you're an original New Yorker. All of your social media tags are Yankee Todd. You talk like a New Yorker. You're certainly fast like a New Yorker. Tell me about your journey and your love of New York. He's wearing Knicks jerseys. He's got the subway station behind you there. Tell me.
So grew up in kind of Finger Lakes region of upstate New York. Beautiful. You got 2 parts of New York. You got basically the city, and you got everywhere else. And so my father grew up right outside of New York City. My mother grew up in Buffalo. They were both educators. They settled kind of what they thought was halfway in between, and had a beautiful, childhood. Applied to college, went to college north of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Came back to New York. Thought I'd stay in New York forever. Never thought I'd leave. New York was in a hiring freeze. Got a job in Houston, Texas, and didn't know a soul in Texas. Not a soul. Accepted the job. Packed up my car, drove to Houston, fish out of water. You talk about a fish out of water, just a complete fish out of water. I thought I'd stay there 1 year, gain experience. It'd be like a student teaching type of experience all over again. But you know what? Fell in love, literally and figuratively. So I fell in love with Houston at the time. Fell in love with the food, the people, coaching, the teachers I worked with, some great friends, and then fell in love with my soon-to-be wife. And then thought, okay, we'll stay again. And we actually thought about moving back to New York. Like my wife and I'd go back there. She was from Iowa, so we didn't have ties to Texas. And then, we started having a family and, 5 kids, and cost of living in Houston was tough. And so we moved over to San Antonio. Been here for 25 years, got a great job at a great school, and bought a house down the road so my kids could go to that school. Little did I know that I'd be the principal of that high school, that middle school I was at fed it. So divine intervention, the good Lord just putting it all together. And so, 29 years. And honestly speaking, I don't have a complaint about anything that I've done in public education. Every job has been my absolute favorite. I think if you're a principal or a school leader, that's got to be your mindset. Wherever your feet are, you got to just have great joy and excitement about what you're doing. And if you're pissy about stuff, then kids can see it, and teachers can see it, and the community can see it. And so while you're there, let's go. Let's get excited about it. And the beautiful part of my last basically 10 and a half to 11 years at Churchill High School was it wasn't manufactured. I lived down the road. This was my community, my people, my children, and none of it was manufactured. In fact, Brenda Spradling, if she's listening, PTA president, at one point said to me, "Do you believe everything that you put out and you say?" I was like, "Absolutely, 100%." Like this is the only school that your child should go to. This is an A+ school. Like everything that you want anywhere else, you can get here. And when you have that mindset, and when you're leading the band up front, and you're walking alongside when they need it, and you're walking the back when they need it, but you're out front, you're the champion of it, you're promoting it. I just think that makes it so joyous, and it's got great friendships and great memories, and it really gave me a great experience for my next role. And so it's been a great journey. Like in 30 years ago, if you would have told me I'd be in San Antonio, Texas, I would have called you crazy. I would have thought I'd live and die in this great state of New York for my whole life.
But I love
It
how
worked out perfectly.
I love how you've kept on to New York. When I met you, you had the Knicks jersey. You said you watched the
Patrick
game.
Ewing. Patrick Ewing.
Yeah,
old school.
I mean, did you get some flack in Texas for wearing all the Yankee stuff?
Oh, you know where I get the most slack is it'll be Sunday is when the Giants play the Cowboys.
Oof,
That's it's kind of brutal because the Giants, we've struggled the last decade. I don't know when the last time we had a good team was. There's a lot of positivity around the team right now, but the Cowboys will thrash them on Sunday. The offensive line can't protect the immobile quarterback in Russ, and the Yankees Astros has been a real good rivalry down the road to Houston. And so, but that's been fun. And anytime you get friends together, sports is that great equalizer. And just as kind of a side note, as we talk about our world right now and just the disarray of our world, it's too bad that we can't get together and just hang out like we're watching sports, because you're a Giants fan, I'm a Cowboy fan or Texan fan or you name it, but we all can have a drink and eat chicken wings together, and life is good, and we don't take it that next step further. And I just wonder why we can't take that to the real world, or why we can't translate that from sitting at Buffalo Wild Wings or something to, like Facebook, or why we can't take that to the civil discourse that's needed in our country. Because it seems like we can argue, the Astros cheated and that's how they won the World Series, but it's not personal. It's just guy talk. But we can't have that anymore. Like we can't. That's just so sad. And so, the Yankees, I'll still wear on days you can wear jerseys. I'll wear my Yankee jersey and I'll take grief, and I'll wear my Eli Manning jersey. I got a Patrick Ewing jersey that I had to lose 10 pounds to get back into, that I'm proud to get back. I'm proud to get back into. A little tight, but proud to get back into. But, and the good part is Andrew, my son is named Andrew also. He's a big Yankee fan. He's a big Giant. He went to the Astros Yankees game, drove over to Houston, went to the game last week. Big Giants fan, big Knicks fan. And so it helps because my dad's here, my brother's here. We're all get together to watch games just like we would if we were back home. My mother's a huge Bills fan. So I root for the Bills for her. She grew up in Buffalo. And so that's a good story. And it'd be great if the Bills one day got a Super Bowl. If there's a deserving team, it's them.
They've been knocking on that door. It is personal for my sister, just with the Astros. I don't know if it's personal for
They
her.
cheated. They cheated. They cheated. Banging on the trash cans. And that's what I'll say. That's the beauty about sports. Like, so someone will say that, and I'll go over to the trash can and bang on a trash can. They know. And you can pretend like it didn't occur, but it occurred. You got caught cheating. And, I guess, I don't know. Sports is great equalizer.
To the leadership, the family, the work you're doing. You also are an incredible author. There's his book, The Blueprint, Survive and Thrive. I like that.
I like that.
As a school administrator. And even the cover. I mean, even the cover, it has everything on there you need. Mm-hmm. Talk to me about, the book is out a year and change. Talk to me about what this has meant for you, and a little bit about your journey with the book.
Yeah, you know what? Thank you for allowing me an opportunity to share it. My brother is here in Texas, and my brother went from a math teacher to an assistant principal. And so I started an email to my brother of just some tips, things I think Sean should do to be a successful assistant principal. And pretty soon that grew into something a little bit bigger than an email. I opened up a Google Doc, I had tabs, and all of a sudden I told my wife, I think I got something here. Like I think I have something. And so 7 years later, it took 7 years to write that book. 7 years later, I reached out to our mutual friend, Darren Peppard. Darren agreed, liked it, and he published it in August of 24. And so the book was therapeutic, to be honest with you, because it's the overlining arch is it's my journey. It's my principalship from my first year of struggling. And I'm an extremely confident guy. And like, but I struggled my first year. It was a very difficult year because I am fast paced. I am a go-getter. I expect people to do what they say and say what they do. And I had to really realize that I have to meet people where they're at and I have to slow down. Andrew, I talked quieter. I moved slower. Like I had to do simple things to be able to try to reconnect. And so the story is, like I consider myself a halfway successful principal now, but I didn't get there overnight. It took hard work, and that's the blueprint. That's the story that gets there. And the story is I fell in what I call administrative quicksand, but I was able to pull myself out. Here's how I pulled myself out. And so, like, you could be a strong leader today and step in quicksand tomorrow. Like it happens like that overnight, but how do you get yourself out of that? And then it really started with like an entry plan. And then my favorite chapter of the book is chapter 6. And chapter 6 is things I would do differently. Like, what would I do differently if I could start that over again? It's got 10 actionable items that I think I would do differently to prolong the longevity of the principalship, because I'm kind of a dinosaur when it comes to being a principal. I was a principal for almost 12 years. And like, you don't have that longevity of principals. Like, you get principals that are 3 to 5 years. And then you think every 3 to 5 years that staff has to learn a new principle, the community has to learn it, kids have to learn, and that's not good for it. You need continuity for it. So I was looking, as I was getting ready to leave, what could I hand off to people that, not in an egotistical kind of way, but kind of a like, hey, it's kind of proven. And like, it's got some good stuff. And then I reached out to leaders from all over the country. I got quotes in there. I got insights. I got structures. I got systems. But overwhelmingly, I also write in every chapter about the hope that's needed in the job that we're doing, and what, at that point, what public ed could do for communities, and about how schools are the last place where we're teaching kids expectations and responsibilities, and how the kids that were graduating today, contrary to the narrative, these are the kids that are going to change the world. Like, adults, we've messed this thing up, but the kids that we are graduating from high schools around the country right now are the change agents that we need. They're empathetic, they're caring, they're worldly, they want to take on problems, and they want to fix problems. And so the book really just became this like this email that evolved into a project that evolved into just a passion of mine. And so it's surpassed all of my goals as far as selling them. As an author of many books, having people reach out to you and say, thank you, this spoke to me, this resonated with me, just really encourages you, because, and I'll share with this, and I'll kind of end it with this. Every one of us that's a school leader has a story inside of us that deserves to be told, because it will resonate with someone that is in the same spot that we were at some point. And so as I'm talking about failures first year, you think about all those principals that are just starting right now, that all of a sudden they're starting to realize the train's coming off the tracks, and it's only a month into school. We got a long year to go. And so how do you get out of that? And it's important to realize I'm not the only one, and I'm not in this game myself. And throughout the book, I talk about how I reached out to people, how I asked people, how I said, can you help me? And like, telling people it's okay, because if someone reaches out to you or reaches out to me, we're going to respond to them, because we owe it to people. This is how we train the young folks from coming up to make sure that the schools are in good spots, and the schools that we poured so much into still continue to not only survive, but thrive in what we're doing. And every one of us, we want our schools to be better than the school that we left. So I handed it off to a principal. It's in good shape. She's doing great things. She's going to take it to another level that I couldn't get it to. And then when she leaves, we'll continue that. That's what we want. So the book, it's available on Amazon. I do have 2 in college at a liberal arts college. So I would love if people picked up the book off Amazon to help fund my 2 children in college. But you can go over to my website. I'll send out an autographed copy of the website. It's been really humbling to see people reading the book or telling me that they read the book. And it just means that there's so many people out there craving what we can share with them. And like, that is the answer. So if you're listening and you're out there and you're an administrator, you've got a story to tell. Maybe it's a blog, maybe it's a short story, maybe it's a collab that you do in your district, but there are stories that you can tell. Change the names, protect the innocent, whatever you want. But people need to hear these stories, because one of the last things that I would share is one of the things that I marketed my book on, which I felt was made me different, was I was still sitting in the big chair as a principal. And that builds bonds with people, because like, now I'm not doing that anymore. So like when you say to me, well, you're not a principal any longer, things have changed since you left. Well, I've only been out 3 months, but you're absolutely right. Things have changed. And so if you are seated right now, you have like not an obligation, but maybe an obligation to share what's going on and to share the good of it, and then to share with people out there how they can get to be successful, to not only survive but thrive. So that's the hope and goal in the book, and I'm pretty proud of it, to be honest with you. It's like a child. I'm proud of it.
The Blueprint, Survive and Thrive as an administrator. Shout out to Darren Peppard and the Road to Awesome, and Todd is awesome himself. So check that out. Todd, a lot of people, again, like you said, reading the books, but they also want to write a book. People ask, how do you do it? So what was your process? What were some things that you were able to take from paper to having a book in your hand? What was the process for you?
You know, it started kind of haphazardly, because like, honestly, it started haphazardly because it was just going to be an email. And then what I decided then was, okay, let me organize this into chapters, what I considered, chapters and themes of what I have. So Google Doc. And so and then the hard part was, it took 7 years. I'm a high school principal. Like, I don't have time to sit down and dedicate, to all the processes of what I have. So anytime I had an opportunity on a Saturday morning or Sunday afternoon, I would add something to it. And then I would start to think, like, what is your why? What do you hope your book accomplishes? That became like part B. Like, okay, I got these stories, I got this advice. Like, what do I want? Okay, well, I wanted a guide, like a blueprint. I wanted something that you could theoretically pick up. And if you don't have a robust central office of people mentoring you, you could read this on your own and be able to figure some things out, or at least kind of get a blueprint for what you want. So think about your why. Like, what are you going to talk about? Like, are you going to be a culture guy? Are you going to talk about personal wellness? Are you going to talk about AI in the classroom? Are you going to talk about instruction? Are you going to talk about observations? Like, what is your why going to be? And then structure your paragraph, your chapters, and then reach out to people that are doing the work that you really respect. And I started interviewing people. I started sending emails to people and saying, hey, Andrew, I know you're a great leader in New York. You don't know me. I'm Todd. I'm also from New York. Like, I'm writing a book. I'd love to get some quotes on these 5 things. I'll let you see it before I go. I'll send you a book when we're done. Would you be interested? Some I knew, some I didn't. Some responded back that didn't know me. Some never responded. And I couldn't worry about that. And then I started cutting in stuff. And then as I started to put the guts together, I started to say, okay, I could use a couple quotes from an elementary school principal. So who is an elementary school principal that I know that's doing great things? And the book, the blueprint, it really highlights South Texas and San Antonio. So to the people of San Antonio, it's almost like a history book. It's like people that we know, and these are larger than life figures that you get a behind the scenes peek at, and they share stuff with it. So I really just started playing around that way. And then as I went through the process, I got rejected by lots of publishers. I reached out to everybody, and I got rejected by quite a few. And I thought, I'm going to self-publish it. I know you self-published your books, and I thought, I'm going to self-publish. I can control what I can control, get it to market as soon as I can. And I got about 95% done. I got held up a little bit on the cover of the book, and that's where Darren came in. Darren came in and said, hey, let's talk about it. I really like it. I'd like to actually sign you. And so I have the Blueprint 2.0 is in works. It's about 90% done right now. And that is a month-by-month guide to what principals should be doing. So like, really nice. some good, and I'm really seeing that in the Archdiocese right now. Like, hey, here's what you should focus on in September. Boom, October. So like, really kind of getting there. And so I talked to Darren about that and said, I love Darren to publish it. Darren's my boy, he's my buddy. We're in fantasy football leagues together, but I want to get it to market so it's ready to be available next July. So July 1 when principals come on. So I'm working on that. And so taking some creative liberties in it. So to get back to your question, really, what is your why? Setting up a structure, working on it, making it a rough draft, just like I was back in an English class in high school, and then revise. I bought Grammarly Pro, and I used Grammarly Pro to help me really succinct it. And then I shared it with just about anybody that would read it. Does this resonate with you? Is this something you would read? What would you take out? What am I missing? And then soliciting that feedback. And then honestly, having to have thick skin, because some people said, this is not, I wouldn't read this. And I was, well, you're an idiot. That's why no, I can't say that. Like, okay, thank you. But tell me why. What would take you to read it? What do you need to see? And so really, I did all this on my own over 7 years. And then Darren came in and just polished it for me at the end, revised it, made it look as good as it does, and really cleaned up a lot of things. And so peer editing was one of those big ones that I had. And I sent it to an English teacher. She proofed a lot of the grammar. That was great. Sent it to my friends that were in it, sent their sections to it. They said, hey, take that out. I don't want this. I sent it to my bosses and let them take a look at it. And so really just soliciting feedback and listening to what the feedback is. And that came back to how you got to be a good principal. Like if I run a faculty meeting and nobody likes it, I could say, well, tough, or I could listen and I could make a change. And so I had to do that with my book. Jimmy Casas gave me a phone call and gave me great feedback, passed on the book, but gave me tremendous feedback that was so instrumental in my development as a writer. Other people that I reached out to that gave me a Zoom call and said, I like chapter 1. Here's what I would do in chapter 2. People that just invested some time in me. And so like, it's a process. Like it's a job. Like it's not something you just sit down and romanticize and 48 hours later, you got a book. It is a process that you have to devote time to. And I have to schedule time for it because right now I'm very busy. And if I don't schedule time to finish the Blueprint 2.0, it won't get finished, just like observations in a classroom. And so I got to carve out an hour and a half on Sunday mornings to sit at my computer, punch away at it, sit at my computer, punch away at it. And then pretty soon it'll be done. Then I'll start the process all over again. Revise, share. But I'll end it by saying every leader has a voice that people need to hear, especially if it's a positive voice. They need to hear that. And then you can share your processes to get there, because we're not there anymore. We're not sitting in that big chair anymore. We don't know what it's like on September 11th, the day after September 10th, and all the terrible day that we had in America on the 10th, and then to remember September 11th and to go to school. Cell phone bans. You got vaping concerns. You have all those things. We're not sitting there anymore. And so if you're sitting in the chair, you got a story to tell, and people want to hear it. I want to hear it. Like that's what connects me back to the schools. And so it's a fun process. I'm not going to lie. It was a challenge, and I was excited about it. And I was happier than heck when it went live. And Andrew, I woke up one morning, 5:45, just like normal, looked on Amazon, and there was my book. I went for a run. I probably ran the fastest I've ever ran in my whole life.
Running to the bookstore.
Running to the bookstore. And so it's a thing. But it proves, if I can publish a book, then I think anybody can get a book published, because there are lots of smart leaders out there that have more experience than I do, that got a story that could tell, that people would read and pay for. So thank you for letting me talk about that.
There it is, friends. The Blueprint. Check it out. Josh Tovar commenting in there on the chat. And yes, Suzanne, Todd does speak. His website is in the show notes. His stuff is on there. Suzanne put in there, do you ever talk to aspiring leaders in leader prep programs? And absolutely, his stuff is on his website there for sure.
That is one of my great joys, as we've kind of talked themes about this. Like, we have a moral obligation to give back to the people coming along. And we hope that every principal is mentoring their APs or people. We hope that they're giving good feedback and guidance. But the reality is not everybody is. And so if I could ever Zoom into a place and talk to aspiring leaders, I'd be honored to do that. Honored. Let's connect and let's make that happen.
Absolutely. Josh, again, my sister's on here. She is an avid runner. She's got a fundraiser for the New York City Marathon coming up here.
That's awesome.
We'll get that out for her. But Josh, running has become a big part of your life, taking care of yourself. You turned 50. Talk to me about your running journey, your process there. And friends, if you're up early, that's right, Josh. If you're up early, you will see where Todd has run.
Yes.
And he usually has a message on TikTok for us.
Yep.
Tell me about the running and how important that is for you.
Andrew, one of the things that principals or leaders do very poorly is take care of ourselves. And, we run wild hours. We eat poorly. We get home late. We eat late. We neglect ourselves. And so, I got to a point where I just felt, sluggish and didn't feel good. Then you hit that magical 50 and you're like, okay, I got to really buckle down. And so I'm not a runner. Like, I don't like to run. But I am a runner. And so I figured, if I'm living downtown San Antonio, I have no excuse why I can't get up each morning and enjoy beautiful trails, beautiful stuff, get up and so on. So I had a slogan that was 2 miles a day keeps the doctor away. That was what started me. Like, if I can run 2 miles a day, and basically that I went to my 50th, my doctor, very humbling. My doctor was a student of mine, of course. And he said, hey, you gotta You got to walk, you got to exercise, you got to do something. Okay, great. 2 miles a day, doc. I'm going to stay away, right? So I got up in the first time I went out, I think I walked 1.9 miles and ran 1 of a mile. But right. But you stack good days on top of each other. Like, and you eliminate, like I've already laid out my clothes for tomorrow. My AirPods are charged for tomorrow. My alarm goes off at 5:30. I brush the teeth. I'm out the door at 5:45 each day. And now I have a new slogan. And these slogans are corny, but they help me. Like rise and run before the sun is my new slogan. And honestly, that is my driving factor. And I say that to myself out loud, sometimes to convince myself, because this morning I didn't want to get up. Like I could have laid in bed an extra hour, you know what I'm saying? Because like that. And so, but like, I feel so good about myself. I feel like I'm in the best shape since I've been in high school. Like I love the benefits of it. It allows me to eat a little bit more if I want to eat a little bit more, but it also starts my day in the greatest of spaces. In San Antonio, Texas, it's 96 degrees today. It is still hot. I can't run at 5 p.m., so I got to run in the morning. So you get a good sweat going. Your mind gets clear. You can think about things that are important to you, or I can listen to a podcast, or I can listen to music. I've had a religious conversion the last year of my life in my new role that I have. It puts me right with the good Lord. It gives me right with God. I can speak to God. He can talk to me. I can really just feel tremendous about when I come back to my apartment, I shower, and I'm ready to tackle the day. I'm up to 3 miles a day, so I need a slogan about 3 because I went from 2 miles a day, so now I'm at 3. And honestly, in about 35 minutes from door to door, I've got 3 miles in. So, before I get to work, I'm ready. And the tough part, and I'm glad about this, I'm in an office space now. And so office space tends to be a little more sit. And if I wasn't running and continued my eating habits like I would struggle. And so this has been something that I'm very proud of myself, and I like to post. Now, Josh Tovar, who's on here, Josh is up earlier before I am. Josh is like a 4:45 guy at the gym. I can't get there yet, right? Wow. But like that. But so that stuff on social media, on whether it be X or Insta or TikTok, that's inspiring. Like I see those posts, and that inspires me to do the same thing. Somebody's like, well, why do you post that? Nobody cares. Well, you know what? I do. And there might be 3 or 4 other people out there that do. And that might be the reason you get out of bed and go to the gym each morning, because I know Tovar's at the gym, listening to some crazy rock and roll music as he's getting there. But like, it's like something that I need to do. And I found a community of people that are uplifting. And I'll end it by saying this: runners are the most empathetic and caring people, because there's all body shapes that run. You got people that are running marathons, and you got people that are taking the first step. And I'm as proud of both of them. The person that is out of shape, I am so proud of them, more proud of them than I am the person running the marathon, because you're taking a step forward to make yourself better. And so you don't know how many times we pass each other running, and somebody will say, keep it up, or someone will give you a high five. And that is the part that is just so exciting about what's going on. So the journey's been awesome. I've just loved the journey.
I love it. Todd Bloomer, friends. You got a bunch of people in the chat there. Speaking of runners and empathy and caring, again, my sister's running the New York City Marathon. She is doing a fundraiser. Suzanne, if you're still watching, can you throw that in the chat? I have it on my phone, but I don't have it in the chat there. If you could put that in, I would appreciate that, because the runners community does support runners. Todd, we are way over our time limit here, but that's all right. We're doing good. Something else you wanted to share before we get to rapid fire, Todd, and hopefully you'll get unmuted there in a second. Yeah. Finally, I think the system might have muted you, Todd, because the words were coming out so fast. That's all right. Now we can't hear you. You're connected to your earbuds. That's all right. Oh, they were charging. See if you can unmute it manually. The guy broke he broke the system. He was talking. There you go. That was it. Oh, now it went off. Yeah. Once you take them out of your ears, and while he's getting the sound, there's my sister's fundraiser, raising money for my dad's marathon there, and that's in the chat. Thank you, Suzanne. Todd, I wanted to say, was there anything else? Yeah, we're good. Yeah. Anything else you wanted to share before we get to rapid fire?
Nah, and kudos to you for doing these. You got a lot going on in your job and your life and your family and hosting these. allowing a platform for people to connect and to connect with people and hopefully to inspire. So just kudos for you to taking time out of your day to do this when it could be easier for you just to, turn on the Green Bay Packers game that's on with the Commanders here, and watch that. But kudos to you for elevating the profession, and also kudos just for your positivity. Like, I think that's something that's just so needed in education now, like positive voices and highlighting and amplifying people that are doing the work. So kudos. And then it's just a small honor to be a part of this. Like to think that you would want me on the show is an honor to be a part of that.
Well, thank you, Todd. Todd moved the date so I could go to my daughter's game yesterday. And, Todd, you talk about, the work as a principal and yourself and your personality. Todd came right up to me right after the talk. He came right up to me. Boom, after the thing, I got a text message. Like, you were into it. And now here we are. We're connected. Right. I'm following you. You're inspiring me. So I like that drive. And again, Todd now in a new role, Director of School Leadership for the Archdiocese of San Antonio. Follow him on TikTok. His socials are in there. And again, the book is on Amazon. Here it is again. The Blueprint, Survive and Thrive as a School Administrator. All right, Todd, before you get to the Packers game there and your nightly prayers, I did love your video about see people as God would want. That was beautiful. These are rapid fire, Todd, all right? These are quick answers. This is you got a 30-second timeout, and then we need a quick answer. You ready?
Go. Yes, sir.
Here we go, brother. Last movie you saw?
A Complete Unknown, the Bob Dylan story.
Ooh.
And one of my favorite all-time. One of my favorite. Yeah, the movie's good. Dylan's one of the best. He's absolutely amazing.
Last concert you went to?
Robert Earl Keen, a great Texas country singer, hails from Kerrville, Texas, which is the home of the terrible flooding. Does a lot of great things in the school to promote music. Clever songwriter. Robert Earl Keen, look him up. He's amazing. Last concert we went to as a big group was fun.
Okay. Last song you sang out loud in the car?
I Remember Everything by Zach Bryan. I drive Uber a little bit, so it was on. The two ladies I picked up from one place to take them another place, they started singing, I started singing, and it was one of those concerts in a car. I Remember Everything by Zach Bryan. It was pretty cool. It was a cool moment. Terrible singer, but cool moment.
This might be a leadership podcast in the Uber.
Let's go.
Yeah. That's what Josh is saying. I'm looking back in the chat. He said, "Can I order an Uber Blueprint?"
Yes, let's go. I'll take him up there to Garland, USA. Tell him Garland, USA.
Yep. I love it. Todd, I know you're a foodie. I listened to you and Jimmy Casas on the podcast. If you haven't listened to it, listen to Jimmy's podcast with Todd. You talked a lot about food. What's your favorite dish?
If my wife came out here right now and said, let's go out to dinner, we'd go get beef or chicken fajita, and we'd get some rice and beans, some guacamole, some pico de gallo. You can't go wrong. Like San Antonio is a great food city. It's the culture, the cuisines. Andrew, next time you're down here, I'll take you to this place that Jimmy and I went to. That is unbelievable. Just a cool joint. San Antonio is just a good town for food. And so we'd go out and get some fajitas tonight, and it wouldn't disappoint.
Yeah. We had the homemade, self-made in front of you guacamole on the Riverwalk there.
That's good stuff, right?
That's good stuff. Yeah. In 2025, I have fill in the blank.
I've run or worked out every day since Memorial Day. I'm on a Cal Ripken-like streak. Right? I'm Cal Ripken. I'm the Iron Man.
In 2025, I have stopped fill in the blank.
I have stopped. Oh, that's a good one. In 2025, I have stopped checking email on my phone from work. Game changer.
That's hard.
It is. It's hard because there's a fear of missing out on something, but for mental peace, I have had to do that. If someone needs me, Andrew, they're going to text me or call me. Like, that's the realization that I had to put my mind at rest with. And so I stopped checking email on my phone, and it's just one less distraction on my phone. You think about it. Ping, I'm going to go check the email. Well, you're at dinner with your family. Ping, watching The Office with your wife. Ping, I'm going to go check the email. So somebody calls me, I'll answer it because that's important. If they take the time to call, principals, you need to answer it if you're taking email off the phone. But emails can wait. No such thing as an important email, text or calls. You got to get on.
Wow. Good stuff. Todd, you've shared a lot of passions. What's a pet peeve of yours?
Being late, myself or others. If you tell me 7:30, I'm there at 7:10, and I expect you there at 7:10. Even though you told me to be there at 7:30. So a pet peeve, I've also had to work on myself. Like, why am I 20 minutes early and you're showing up at 7:30? Well, you told me you're going to be here at 7:30. But I've always been from that mindset that, if you're not early, you're late, and then you're able to just fix things. And so pet peeves, I don't like people that are late.
You were on the show early today. Texas is fill in the blank.
Hot, hot. But you know what? Texas is home. I would say home now. And Texas is a beautiful community. San Antonio, Texas is just a beautiful community of culture and food and people. So Texas is home.
I know you're New York first. Yankee Todd, he's on social media. But who's your Texas team? Who are you following down there? Who do you root for?
UT Longhorns. And so like a college team, like my daughter graduated UT Austin, Hook'em, Arch Manning, from the lineage of the Manning family. Here in town, San Antonio, I went last week and watched the University of Texas at San Antonio, the Roadrunners, really up and coming football team play. So I love college football. I mean, it's just the absolute best. The Spurs are here in town. And so obviously I was here when they were winning championships left and right. And to be in a city when your team wins, there's nothing like it. And so I've been to many Spurs games. That's a lot of fun. Right now they're up and coming. They're young. They're going to be talented. Wembyana is just a complete freak of a player. I don't know how people game plan for him. You're the basketball guy. You got to tell me how you're going to stop a 7-3 guy that can control every aspect of the game, pass, shoot 3-pointers, block every shot, run the court. You hope he stays healthy, and you hope he gets a 15-year career, and you hope he's Tim Duncan and David Robinson. The Spurs have just had tremendous. I'll also say this, and I know it's 30 seconds, but they've had tremendous people. Manu Ginobili, Tony Parker, Tim Duncan, people that you want your children to look up to emulate. They've had those people Bruce Bowen, they live in the community and they still stay here and they care about it. David Robinson's advocating for a new downtown facility for the Spurs at city council meetings. He doesn't need to do that, but he does. David Robinson shops at a grocery store like a normal dad, takes pictures with people. Tim Duncan does the same thing. It's just, so I think I root for the Spurs. I mean, don't get me wrong. If the Knicks and Spurs play, I'm cheering for the Knicks to beat them. But if I had to pick a favorite team here in town, it's the University of Texas at Austin and just about anything they do.
And Popovich, the culture, it goes back to him, his leadership, and the people they're picking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they have a way of going and finding. When they picked Ginobili, everyone was like, who is? He couldn't even say his name. Yeah. And then he turns out to be just a transformer of just games. Tony Parker, Good
stuff. Something about Todd Bloomer that people do not know about.
You know what? It's something that I actually kind of like a small group, and I kind of like to be kind of just in a corner. Like I like to be when I'm a leader. I'm a big personality, and when I'm off the clock, I like to just my wife and I got a small group of tight knit friends that we hang out with. I'd rather just hole up in a corner somewhere. And now, don't get me wrong. People come up, I'll talk, I'll be the life of the party. But there's times where I just like to have some downtime.
Yeah, that extrovert needs that introverted time.
It does.
It does. Well, let's get you out of here. Last question here. A quote to end the show. What's a quote that you live by, that you stand by?
I'm going to give two. Okay. The time is always right to do what is right is a quote that, through athletics and just leadership, it's just through talking to kids, it's just always something. And then the quote that you kind of referenced has really transformed me is, do we view all people the way God intended us to view them? And that was one that just really transformed the way I look at people and the way I really challenge myself now to look at adults, to assist adults, family disputes, because, God made everybody perfect. There's nothing wrong with anybody that God created. And so it's our job to find the strengths in people and bring them out. And that last quote really it reminds me to lead as an empathetic leader, a kind leader, a forgiving leader. And so really just a mindset to those. And so either of those two, and I'll give you one more. Just come on, let's get one more. Muhammad Ali's got a great quote that says, it's not the mountain that deters the person, it's the pebble in the shoe that does. And so it's just a reminder that sometimes I create a pebble for people and I need to remove that pebble because like we're in this job and people aren't afraid to do the job, but sometimes people just need to be supported or they just need us to quit micromanaging them or quit just bothering them or support them. Let them do what they get paid to do. And so as whether it be a principal or a teacher, that's just those 3 quotes really just kind of guide me each day.
Todd Bloomer, friends. Again, here's his book here, The Blueprint. You can find it everywhere. And his website, it's toddbloomer.com. Is that right, Todd?
Yeah, toddmbloomer.com. The M. So there's a Todd Bloomer stuntman out there. I don't know who that guy is. Can't wait to meet him one day, but toddmbloomer.com.
Todd M. Bloomer. This has been a great podcast. Who's calling now, Todd?
Someone's calling.
And I appreciate everyone jumping in here. My sister's fundraiser is in the chat for all you runners out there. She's raising money for the New York City Marathon and my dad's legacy. So, yes, Suzanne, you're right. It was great content. Todd Bloomer, check him out. Check out the book. And Todd, I appreciate you, my friend.
Let's go be great. Let's go be great.
Keep surviving and thriving. Todd, stay on the line a second. We are going to sign off. And I appreciate you. Check him out on social media. Todd, thanks, brother.
Thank you, Andrew.
Talk soon.